ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Now, I understand that the huge thing here is Joe Biden is dropping or pardon his son Hunter. So I'll be talking about tomorrow. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it. I don't get the time around to do it right now. But tomorrow is definitely happening. As soon as I get up and I'm done with whatever stuff I'm doing, that's happening immediately. So what we have here, we're gonna be talking about something pretty big. That's happening right now with regarding to Mark Walsh and ending the trans pretty much ideology dead in his feet. Like, this will really damage it. And it's a case that is going on here that is going to be talking about what to stop transgenders from being able to transition kids and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get into this. We have this from the Daily Wire saying, Matt Walsh to speak outside SCOTUS as court hears monumental transgender case. The Daily Wire's Matt Walsh will speak outside the Supreme Court this week as the justices hear a monumental case on transgender procedures for children. Walsh will speak at a Wednesday rally hosted by Do No Harm, an organization that fights radical gender ideology, during oral arguments in the United States v. Jonathan Skrmetti, a case dealing with Tennessee's law banning universal transgender transition procedures for children. This is the culmination of our fight against the barbarism of child sex changes, and it could be a Dobbs-style earthquake in terms of protecting children. The Daily Wire host and What is a Woman filmmaker has spent the last several years exposing the gender ideology industry, particularly through an investigation into Vanderbilt University Medical Center gender transition procedures for children. That September 2022 investigation prompted Tennessee lawmakers to bring forward legislation to protect children. The same legislation now central to Wednesday's case. Walsh will be joined by over a dozen organizations standing against these transition procedures for children, as well as doctors, detransitioners like Chloe Cole, activists, and rallies. Following the oral arguments, Alliance Defending Freedom and Do No Harm will host a press conference with the Tennessee lawmakers who brought forward the much-discussed Senate Bill 1, which went into effect on July 1st, 2023. What gender ideology lacks in logic, science, and morality, it makes up for in left-wing money, violent activism, educational indoctrination, and legacy media support, Walsh said on Monday. Yeah, exactly. What we have here is that a lot of the trans surgeries are very expensive, and we have actual reports of doctors using this type of money so that way they can just enrich themselves, because it's a very long and forever long process with drugs and stuff like that. So they're really just doing it for the money's sake and nothing else. And that's the disgusting part, and it has no benefit to the kids whatsoever. So it goes on to say here, this isn't just a good politics, he added. It's morally necessary, and it's the time Republicans enacted on it. Meanwhile, far-left organizations like the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, and the Human Rights Campaign have planned protests outside the court for the same morning. We can't stand by as the Supreme Court considers stripping LGBTQ plus people of our hard-earned rights, the HR said in a release, using the activist phrase gender-affirming care to describe transgender surgeries, hormones, and puberty blockers. We're going to send a message that gender-affirming care is medically necessary, life-saving, and here to stay. Here's the thing. Here's the big thing here. It is not the fact that we're preventing you from having your rights for your trans surgeries if you are an adult. It is stopping the kids. This is what the far left does and the media does. They'll say like, oh, well, you're trying to remove it from all trans people and ban it. No, that's not what we're doing. What we're saying is you can have these surgeries if you're an adult. But if you're a kid that is 17 or younger, which it is happening to younger kids, then yeah, you can't do this. You can't just go and mutilate children's bodies like this. It's abhorrent. It's disgusting. And if we're going to allow this, that's the insanity that is all taking part in here, right? We can't be allowing this type of insanity to go through. And again, let's put this in perspective, right? We have this here to where you had states taking children away from their parents and pretty much and them also losing it. So they lost their kid after they transferred child, and because of the religious beliefs, they're removed, right? And then you have another article. Well, this is probably one of the bigger ones, probably the most heartbreaking and disgusting things to watch. It's like, I covered this years ago, right? 1 or 2 years ago. And it's so heartbreaking because you had a kid that's named Sage. She was taken from her parents' home. She was sex trafficked for I don't know how long, for like about almost a couple of years. They get the kid back the first time, and then she was taken away again and sex trafficked again. This is what happened. This is all because of the trans ideology that you're pushing here. That's not okay. That can't be allowed. That's disgusting. And we need to stop it. Now, if you guys want to go and butcher your bodies or do whatever, and want this to happen, you're an adult, be as it may, go do it. That doesn't mean that you guys shouldn't have your rights removed, such as you shouldn't be able to have the freedoms to go buy a weapon if you want to. You shouldn't have your rights revoked because you can't because you can't buy butter, or you can't enter some place because of your being trans. Doesn't mean you should not be allowed to go to a restaurant and not be discriminated against. Yes, you can't go and do something like that. However, when we're talking about specifically here about what you're doing to kids, that's a problem. That is an issue, and it needs to be stopped. I have no problem with you want to go and messing with your buddy or whatever if you're an adult. Preferably, I would like it if you're 25 because your frontal cortex is fully developed and you're ready to roll and you're thinking the best that you could possibly can. But I can compromise for 18, but anybody younger, that's not allowed. And this is a huge thing. This is massive because this may actually be able to stop just transgender activism in its tracks, really put a damping to effect and stopping it entirely. Now, I wanted to stop for kids. It doesn't mean that these people shouldn't have rights. Normal rights, like, going into some place and not being allowed to go in because you're trans. That's just stupid. Or going into anywhere and not being allowed to enter because you're trans. That's just stupid. But anything else that is forcing our ideology and other things onto people is insanity to me, and that should never be allowed. That is stupid. And I think the big thing here is that we live in a society today that is just so insane that we have to fight what should be already critical, right? And since this is a big thing that's going to be happening, I think that this is what we should do. This should be a thing, right? And there's already going to be a trans person here that's going to be speaking about this issue here. I believe it will be Chase Strangio. It's to meet the transgender my lawyer, arguing to SCOTUS that kids should get gender transitions and stuff like that. This is a female. Chase Strangio is a woman who identifies as a transgender man and the co-director of the American Civil Liberties Union, the LGBTQIA Project. So ACLU is garbage and whatever, but this person's going to go testifying in, I may believe, tomorrow about the whole thing, right? So we'll see how this goes. But I'm hoping SCOTUS does the right thing, does not allow transgender surgeries to happen for kids, but if it wants to happen to adults, I don't care. It's your body, do what you want. I don't really care. But this needs to end. I'm glad that we're finally reaching the final stranglehold, and if we are victorious, if Matt Walsh wins this, we have made a massive breakthrough in the culture war. We have crushed every opposition that is saying trans people that the trans ideology should just be stopped, specifically for kids, and this means that we'll be healing as a country and moving forward to better prospects. And what more can we want for that? Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.